No, that's weird.
No, it's not.
No, that's
Mics
weird.
are hot.
But then we can
You
do the whole...
nerds. Oh, God.
Hi there, I didn't see you.
No, I hate that so much.
That chair was a lot deeper than I thought it was.
That's the worst feeling in the...
chair.
I know, I did that on purpose because I'm taller than both of you.
It's the worst
All
feeling in
your
the
mics
world,
are hot.
though.
I already told you that.
Well, I wanted to make sure it was actually on.
Yeah, I know, they're hot. That's what that means.
Too hot to handle.
Sometimes
Hi,
you
everybody.
lie.
Welcome to Meeple Skills, the only podcast covered completely in miniature paint.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
Yep, sounds correct.
I am the host, quote unquote. I'm going to scoot a little bit closer, though, because I'm out of frame quite a ways.
Yeah.
I'm the quote unquote host
Closer to me too.
with
No,
the
I'm good.
co-hosts.
I showered today. That is saying a lot during the pandemic.
Yikes.
That's funny.
Yikes. I'm trying to fix our doohickey here. All right, there we go. See, this is fine.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Ethan, with my co-hosts, as always.
Jackie.
And Allie.
Yay. Let us know if there's any issues with sound. I cannot hear what you can hear. There shouldn't be, but if there is, let me know. We're back to doing things live.
It's weird.
Which we haven't done in a while.
Yep.
And not consistently.
Nope.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, it's probably not going to be super consistent. But we are going to continue to do these live streams when we have a topic. That's kind of what we've come to with this. Is it's like we have now reviewed so many games and gone through so much that it's like,
Yep.
it's really hard to come up with like, what are we going to talk about next? And what are we going to talk about that other channels haven't talked about yet?
Right.
Because there's not much.
Yeah, we don't want to just rehash what everyone else is saying, so... today we have today's episode is pretty much entirely sort of sponsored one. We got all of these games for review purposes. So we're gonna be talking about some of those games. We have the Exit the Game series, which we have some videos up on YouTube over on the Project Nerd YouTube page, as well as adventure games. Which we briefly looked at in another video that's available on the YouTube, as well as Dig by Scyther Games, which we'll talk about towards the end of the podcast.
Hey.
So Cosmos was nice enough to send us some copies of the Exit and Adventure games, different versions. It's 3 in total. So the videos that we have on YouTube right now, the first one is for the Cemetery of the Night, Exit the Game. And so that's one that we did an unboxing of that you can check out. And then the one you guys actually played through, which is pretty much the same type of games, the same principles, just a different theme, is the Enchanted Forest. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience playing the Enchanted Forest?
Well, first I'd like to say that we picked the Enchanted Forest because it was easier than the Cemetery of the Night. The Cemetery of the Night is a 3-dot level, and the Enchanted Forest is a 2-dot level. And Allie and I aren't particularly skilled in puzzle games, so we thought it would be smart to start off with the easier one. We were correct. This one was for ages 10 and up, and it did take us 2 hours to get through it.
Yep, it did. It took 2 hours.
So, elaborate a little bit on being bad at puzzles. I want to. I want to know a little bit more about what parts of the game you had issues getting through. If there was any particular types of puzzles that stumped you.
Well, we both aren't the most observant of people, which honestly is kind of the biggest issue, because there was one puzzle in particular that we both, because there are hints, there is a nice little deck in here that gives you hints whenever you're stumped, and we had to go all the way through to the solution and just get the answer, because neither of us would have ever figured that out. It talked about a ribbon, and you had to match up the ribbon, and the ribbon was on the decoder disc, which is like your main thing you use.
I don't even know if the ribbon will actually pick up on camera.
It probably won't. It's super light colored on this decoder disc.
A little bit too much glare to see it.
Right.
And plus, we don't want to spoil it too much for people who might want to still try the game out.
Yeah,
Right.
well, it's not giving away too much to be like, you will get a decoder disc. We looked in both of these. They both have decoder discs, so that's just a standard thing that'll be in the game. But yeah, there was... So yeah, there's this like very light colored ribbon on here, and you have to line it up, and that's how you figure out the clue. And both of us were like, I didn't see that. I honestly thought it was just like something wrong on the disc, or like, honestly, I didn't really even notice it until Alyssa read the instruction, was mad, threw the card down, and then just started messing with the disc, and then just goes,
Yep. I was very upset when I read that. I was like, well, and they're so similar in tone and almost in texture that it took me a minute to figure it out, even after I read it. And then when it clicked, I was like, are you kidding me? I feel dumb. Whatever.
So that was one, and that was something we kind of discussed while playing the game, that we realized that one thing that Exit does excellent at, or that Kosmos and Thames did excellent at when creating this, is all the puzzles that are in here are different. Both Alyssa and I, it turns out, are very tactile people, and so anytime it was like, you come to a crossroads, there's a sign here, here's the thing you're supposed to use, should we figure it out, or can you figure out where to go next? And we immediately were like, yep, look, we figured it out.
And there were even a couple where we technically had the right answer, but we either put it on the decoder wrong, or we misinterpreted the card. Yep. I think that happened with one of them in particular, with the goats.
Yep.
We misinterpreted the answer we got, because we originally got it correct the first time, and then we're like, but it doesn't look the same.
So follow your gut.
Yeah.
Instead of overthinking it sometimes.
Yeah, it got confusing because one of the things this likes to do is you can have an answer that is like might be right, and what it is you pull out a card that is a might be right card, and it will ask you which room you're in, essentially. And it does this with symbols, no words or anything, just symbols. And in this particular instance, there were 2 symbols that matched the page we were on, and we picked the wrong one.
Yep.
Yikes.
So that was something. But overall, like, and we thought, like, this is one that honestly would be more fun with more people. We played it with just the 2 of us. It's for 1 to 4 players. But it might be a lot more fun if we had more people. We discussed how it would have been more fun to have General Pillage with us on this particular one, because his mind works very differently than ours, and where both Alyssa and I were able to do any of the tactile ones rather quickly, every time it came to like a riddle or like the attention to detail type of ones, we struggled, and those were the ones that really had us hit a wall.
Yeah, and it got very frustrating. So I think having multiple people and having more than just 2 people makes it easier, because you can also bounce ideas off of more than just you and the other person.
Yeah.
It could actually also potentially make it take longer, just because you also now have to wrangle cats, because now there's 4 people that you have to like, okay, bring it in.
Let's come to a consensus here.
Let's bring it in, because I know even with escape rooms sometimes there is that too many cooks in the kitchen effect, where you have like 8 people working on something, and then like 2 people sitting on the floor playing with the old clues, which was me. And then you've got like everybody has a different answer, and everybody thinks their answer is right, and it's like, eventually we have to pick something and we have to decide.
Yeah, I can see how the benefit of having people who just think slightly differently than you to be able to tackle those problems from a different angle, because like you and Jackie are very similar people just in general.
Yeah.
You're about the same height.
Yep.
You can stop this.
Oh, sorry. But you approach things the same way, so it kind of puts you at a roadblock where you're both coming to the same conclusion, and if it's wrong,
and then we both go,
and then you're both not sure where to go next.
Right.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you like the game?
I'm going to give it, I think I'll give it a 7, because overall, very solid setup. It's a very affordable game. It has lots of, it doesn't have any replayability. It is one you can only play through once, which does hurt its score a little bit for me. And then it also, just like the really like nitpicky clues just irritate me. It make me feel dumb, okay? They make me feel dumb. But overall, I would totally play this game again. I, in fact, think this is perfect for taking to the family over the holidays, because there aren't a lot of rules, which is something I really appreciate, is that you can jump into it pretty quickly. One thing that I think they maybe could have done a little better about is there is a little bit of an excessive amount of waste. And I say that because not only is it like a one playthrough, but there's cards in here that were prizes for finishing. And I was like, don't give me more paper prizes. Like, just... I won. Like, just let me know my star rating. And when I say we won, by the way, we only had, was it 2 stars?
3. We had 3
stars.
Get it correct.
2 was the lowest you could go, and 10 was the max.
Yikes.
Yup. That part of that was because of all the hints we had to use. And
But you did exit.
We
We did.
You did
we
escape.
did escape the Enchanted Forest.
In the
so.
time limit.
And we did.
We did.
For 1 to 2 hours, we were under that 2-hour limit. We did not get any bonus points.
Nope. Not a single bonus point.
What about you?
I would probably give it a 6, and I am actually probably going to dock it a little bit heavier in it being a single play only game. I think for what this game does, if you like these kinds of games and you really like escape rooms, and of course this is a great option since we can't safely do escape rooms right now for the staff, for actual individuals who actually participate, there's no safe way to do these right now. So if it's something you really, really enjoy and it's something that you'll actually do, yes. But the waste issue is something I'm frustrated with. And you can't avoid it with a game that does have a single playthrough. I'm just concerned that this is going to become more prevalent. And that's my biggest concern, because I know that right now with video games, they're concerned microtransactions, essentially blind boxes. I'm concerned, well, I'm not concerned about the blind box aspect. Nobody's going to buy mystery board game. I mean, I don't want to say that it might be kind of cool, but like a little bit.
You would be surprised what they can sell at a convention.
Right. So the idea of it could be neat, but at the same time, I'm concerned that this idea of single playthrough games is going to become even more prevalent, and I don't really want that, especially for people, because like this is very accessible. Like people who are new to board games can find this at Target. You can get it at Target. You can get it at a lot of like major retailers. So it's a good entrance. I just don't want people to just assume that all board games are like this.
Play it once, throw it out.
Play it once and throw it out.
Yeah.
Especially with, like Betrayal, or like, which granted Betrayal has Betrayal Legacy, but that does have playthroughs. And a lot of Legacy games do have playthroughs, so I'm okay with that.
Right.
But
do we know, are all the materials in the game recyclable?
They may be.
It is paper. I mean, it's
My concern, though,
Paper
is
and
it's
cardboard.
coated. So I don't know if with it being a coated paper, if that would be an issue or not. Especially with there being plastic bits for some items. I would imagine some of it would probably be, and I would imagine the box is maybe
Box
as well.
probably is.
Yeah,
The box probably is. So it's possible that a lot of this could be recyclable.
So Cosmos, tweeted us, let us know, because I think that would allay some of our concerns with a
Yeah.
single playthrough.
Yeah, because then at least then I wouldn't feel as guilty throwing this. Kind of a snowflake, though.
Yeah, you can have your snowflake.
Thanks.
That's
She made
great.
that snowflake.
That's great. All right, so Jackie, you said a 7.
Yep.
Allie, you said a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I did not play the game, so I will not be giving it a rating. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how salty did it make you?
Honestly, for me, it's only a 4.
Really?
But that's for this particular instance. Like, I've had, like you said, escape rooms where I was super salty. I didn't get out of any of those, by the way, but I was super salty.
Same.
I was like, but, like, I did not, for one thing, the story here kind of saved it for me, because it's like this adorable little cute story, and you're like, you're going through the enchanted woods, and you're meeting all of these fairy tale creatures and people, and you have to help them with their storyline, and then you continue on with yours, trying to get out so that you don't get eaten by the big bad wolf, because, and so
Sorry. Okay.
Was that the actual story?
a little bit.
Okay.
It was a you need to escape the Enchanted Forest or you're never leaving situation.
Ooh.
Yes.
So that's why you had to exit. But so that really helped save it some for me. And then there was the fact that, like you said, Alyssa and our minds work very similarly. So there wasn't much of issues between who's in charge or do we have the right answer? Because
Right.
we usually came to the same answer and we
Or
were
no
stumped
answer.
on all the same things. which was both a gift and a curse.
Yes.
And, it just, for me, it wasn't a high salt because of those particular things. I do think if you're going with, like, the series, I'd have to go closer to a 6 for that because I just know the nature of these kinds of games, and the more people you have in them, the more likely you are to have salt, because even though they are supposed to be encouraging cooperation, and I think to some degree they really do, but there's always going to be the conflict of, wait, are you right or am I right? Who's in charge? Do we have to have somebody in charge? No, I think I know how to read this better than you, there's...
Oof, I didn't think that.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
There's too much team building for it to be a 0 salt.
Should be used as team building exercises.
So,
take that to your teams.
all right, yeah, right.
Just make sure HR is there to calm everything down.
Yeah, so the 6 on the saltiness scale is because Jackie doesn't get along with other humans.
Yep.
I'm kidding. Allie, how about you? Saltiness?
Oh, straight 10.
Straight 10.
I was so livid when we were done with this game. I was so livid. I hate these. I hate being bad at games so much.
Okay, so it was the fact that the cardboard was insulting your intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But you exited.
We did, but
Right.
some of the solutions made me so angry because there was at least one where we were told something wasn't a part of the game.
Or not to touch it until told.
And it was one of the solutions, and it wasn't something we were told to touch.
We even backtracked to make sure we didn't miss it.
Yeah, we went through the rule book. We're like, okay, like maybe it's like in here. And I think part of that problem may have been because we unboxed Cemetery of the Night. Because Cemetery of the Night included that item as something you can use in the game. This one did not.
Interesting.
So I think that could have been part of it. I also just don't like being bad at games.
Yeah.
I'm not that. I know I'm not like a genius level intelligence, but like, man, give me a break. Can I just like doodle? Like, come on, give me something I can do. God dang it. But I could see it also being salty with an individual, like Jackie said, with having multiple people, especially if not everybody gets along all the time. I would.
Yeah, definitely not to use in your group therapy session.
No. And while it would be funny to use a team building exercise, I think it may rip your team apart at work.
Depends on the kind of team dynamic you have.
Right.
Maybe I will take that to my team once COVID goes away. It'll be our team building activity.
There you go.
Since you guys haven't seen each other in 9 months, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Escape.
Yep. Good luck. I'll just say good luck and I walk out.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Well, cool. Any final thoughts on the Enchanted Forest version of Exit?
I did want to warn people, these games take up more space than you would think. Like, you pull it out of the box and it's like 3 things. It's like your rule book, your actual little book, your decoders, a pack of cards, and it looks little. And you're like, oh, I could play this on a coffee table. Well, once you start like demolishing things, this is a big table. We had stuff all over this table. Like, it was like...
Yeah, you really got to spread out with it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So, like, it takes up more space than it looks like. And I just felt like you should know that.
Yeah, because that could be a problem, especially if you're trying to play in a coffee table. Also, I wouldn't play around, like, small children or dogs. This had at least a couple plastic pieces that were small and cardboard pieces. So you don't want your dog grabbing the cardboard pieces because you need them. And if you lose them, well...
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Because you're not gonna win. Because you need those pieces. So I would just keep that in mind as well. I also, Jackie did point out, I did like the story of this a lot. So that does help. They're cute games. I just don't like these kinds of games because they make me feel stupid. But it is good at what it does. So we'll give it that.
If you are someone who likes puzzles or puzzle games, you need these. You need the whole collection.
Yeah, I don't Nicolas Cage things very well. So that's not... I'm going to reuse that joke too.
I was just checking sound just to make sure it's coming through good.
Fair.
Cool. So, again, the other one we talked about on the YouTube was... that was the Cemetery of the Night one. So, again, we did not play that one, so we're not going to talk about it.
Nope.
But you can check that out on YouTube. The next game on our agenda is Adventure Games. Discover the Story. This one is The Volcanic Island, which we also did an unboxing for on the YouTube. So, Jackie, tell us a little bit about this game.
So, fun fact, we haven't actually played it yet. To be played.
It's on the docket.
It's on the docket.
Yes.
But we really thought it was important to bring this up along with the Exit games, because if you look at these, they look a lot alike. They look like very similar games. They have similar kind of art style. They even have kind of similar fonts. Like, they look like they would be from the same set of games. They are very different. Exit is an escape room, and Adventure Games is really more of a story campaign. And that was part of the reason we thought it would be important to go ahead and make sure both of them were covered in this stream, because this is, in fact, more of an adventure game. You actually have characters, so you play as a character. This one has replayability, so it is a little bit more expensive than the Exit games, but that's because it's more of your traditional style board game, and you're going to be able to play it multiple times. And it is more story-based, so it does have more rules. We did, in that video, go through the rules honestly pretty thoroughly for not actually playing it.
Right.
But it has a lot more rules and that happens a lot with story-based games, because you kind of have to start off with, like, and here's what your turn is going to look like, and then, of course, the game is going to change based on the decisions you make.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what how the replayability works. Wow, I can't say that word. Because they have pips on the back to kind of show if you're looking for something specific. And the pips aren't full on the replayability. So I'm wondering if it's like Betrayal, where like rules change. So things are different like the next playthrough, which I mean, I'm cool with. I think that's interesting. I do wish they had made the boxes just a little bit more different. That's me being nitpicky. Just because I don't want people to think that they're getting one game and then getting that by accident.
Or at the very least, what I thought when I saw this advertised the first time, I legitimately thought it was a, like, new series of essentially the same thing. And I was like, that's silly. Just keep calling it Exit. Well, it's not. It's different.
Not the same.
So
yeah. I'm excited to play it.
I am too. I think one other thing I really appreciate about this is that it does have a companion guide. I should shout out that Kosmos has a companion app.
Yes.
And it has all the rules for all of their games on it. You can check out all their rules. These had little timers that had ambient music that could play while you were going through.
Oh,
so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I liked that. I would also say this game has a lot of rating, because I kind of flipped through a little bit, like a lot of rating. So, and it's very small font. So if needed, I would use the app. I think there is a voiceover thing you can do, I believe.
Yes.
So it can be read aloud to you guys, or if you guys want to just have that instead, you can do that. Or if you're like vision impaired or anything like that, I would use the app. That way you can use it, and you don't have to sit there and try to like struggle through it while you're reading, like, cause it's a lot of dialogue. It's a story, so it reads like a story. It gave very true like choose your own adventure vibes. Was what I got from when I was looking at the little dialogues and stuff.
That's why I wanted to mention the app, because it does improve accessibility so much,
Which I appreciate them for doing, because that's important.
Yeah. So if you are someone who struggles with vision, they do have an app that'll help you, because the storybook in here, tiny font.
Thick
big
with
book.
2 C's.
Thick and tiny font. Yes.
Yeah.
So you definitely, I will probably use the app when I play through.
I might, because I feel like after a certain point, I feel like after you read for a long time, you're like,
I just read a book. I thought I was playing a game. What is this, English class?
Hello?
The last thing I'd like to mention about this is another kind of semi-warning. This one, the playtime, is listed as 75 minutes plus, which in the Eurogame world means that it's 75 minutes per person. So if you play it by yourself, it's 75 minutes.
4 times 75. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's such a big number.
Yep. So you might need to set aside a lot of time if you're going to be playing this with 4 people.
Or have a place where you can set it aside and come back to it later.
Yeah.
Also that, you might have to have a pause button.
Like a cool gaming tabletopper in your basement.
Right.
Check out gamingtabletoppers.com, or Gaming Toppers, that's what it is, gamingtoppers.com.
I thought it was Game Toppers.
Game Toppers, that one. They're
Jeez.
Hey,
know.
they don't sponsor
They're
us.
not sponsored.
Yeah.
I do love this topper, so I would totally take a sponsorship from you, Game Toppers.
Yeah, feel free to send us more.
Yeah, all the sizes.
Yep.
They have a coffee table size that I actually really want.
I kind of love that, actually.
know,
That's
right?
kind of great. Great for apartments.
All right. So the last thing I guess any other final thoughts on the adventure games before we move on?
I look forward to playing it.
Yeah, we
Nice.
will.
Yeah.
When we do play that, we will get up another video, and it'll be a playthrough video of that one. So
Yeah.
it'll be on the YouTubes.
Oh, that's your loud timer.
Nice.
Yeah, It was supposed to just be on vibrate.
Whoopsies. That's okay.
Yay,
well, that's
technology.
perfect, though.
Yeah.
Because the timer was to tell us to talk about something else, which is Dig. The
Dig.
card game from Scyther Games.
Yes.
It is a press your luck card game featuring different point values that you try to get and bombs that make all your points go away.
That sounds awful.
Uh,
Sorry, I meant the bombs, not the game overall.
Gotcha. We'll edit that out. We'll edit that out in post. No,
You're welcome.
Jackie, do you have anything else about this game you would like to say before we move on to our other sections?
Since this is a brand new game, and I think it's currently still available on Kickstarter as of today. By the time this goes up on YouTube, it'll be over for the Kickstarter because it was a very short Kickstarter run.
But fully funded.
But fully funded.
That's what's up.
So it is, you can, if you contribute, you will get one of these. It is very fast. It says it plays in 5 to 10 minutes, and it legitimately does. It is a 2-player game. I believe you can mix and match. You can buy 2 batches of it, and then you can play with up to 4 people. But you do have to buy another deck of cards, essentially. So basically with Dig, you're looking at different tools, and then the tools tell you what you can do with your turn. So with this first set of tools, which is a spoon and fork, you can look at a card, or if somebody else has looked at a card, or that basically if that card has been looked at previously, you can take it. You do have your cards all set out kind of like you would in a game of memory. And then after you've gotten some cards, after you've gotten some point cards, you can turn in those point cards in order to upgrade your tools. So then you can go from the spoon and fork to the rake, the little hand rake. And when you get the hand rake, then you don't get to look anymore. You just draw, but that does mean you are getting those cards faster. And then as you go up, you just get more of that. So the spade, you can draw up to 2 cards, but you don't have to draw 2. And then you get up to the actual shovel, and the shovel allows you to draw up to 3. So because of that, it does make it really hard to try to run statistics on this. You can't go all math brain on it because people have enough options of how many they can take that it would be hard to kind of figure out. And you usually put them out in multiple piles too. So there's lots of different ways to create that variability and make it so that people can't just play the stats or play their luck.
You can't count the cards.
Yep, exactly. Can't quite do that. But so this is an example of a point card. The point cards, they are really big and they do have the values written very clearly on them. They are friendly for people who have color blindness. And of course, everything's big, so it's also good for just about any kind of vision issues. Very accessible in that way. So those are point cards, and then this is a bomb. The bombs are on yellow cards, and then they have a big red bomb on them. And every time you get a bomb, everything you've collected previously is gone, including the tools. So if you had purchased any tools, those are also now gone. And the person so you go until you are out of cards in all of your piles, and the person who has the most points at the end is your winner. And that is the basics of Dig. So yeah, super fast to play, super easy to explain. I think it's a great game for in-between games. If you were having a game night, it is a good one for right before bed because, once again, it's one that, honestly, most times we've had less than 10 points at the end of the game. Like, you go through all these cards, but usually you have like, yep, I had 12, and so it's really easy to add up and be done for the night. So that is Dig.
So Scyther Games, of course, also the makers of Over Battle,
which is one of my favorite games, or one of my favorite war games, I should say, and I'm so excited. We haven't actually got it in person yet, but I got to play it at Midwest Game Fests, and it was really cool. And you can still order that on their website. You can do early ordering, but it hasn't shipped yet, but it's getting very close.
Hopefully. So Dig is on a scale of 1 to 10. How much did you like it? I'll go first. I'm gonna give it a 7. I am also a salty person when it comes to luck-based games. and I got the brunt of the luck, the bad luck, that is. So when I played it, I got like 80% of the bombs, which is just statistically stupid.
There's 8 bombs in there. He pulled 7.
Yeah. So other than that, though, it is a game that does what it does extremely well. It's streamlined. It's easy to explain. It's super easy to play. Even my silly brain was able to comprehend it, and nothing was too confusing other than, like, at first I was confused about what the symbols meant. I thought there was more to them, but it's just another way to recognize the card quickly. Or, you know, like you said, if you have issues with colorblindness or anything like that, it's another thing you can use, so you're not just relying on the color of the card to indicate its point value or whatever. So once I found that out, I was like, oh, that's super cool, and it was super easy to play, and we could have played like 500 games that night. We played 2, and I lost both because I drew all the bombs.
Both games.
But, so yeah, it's a solid 7 out of 10 game, which, you know, that's pretty good for me. So, Jackie, scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Scale of 1 to 10?
What?
Jackie?
I would like to preface this by saying
Oh, no.
that I am also not a press your luck person.
She really likes Overbattle, though.
I do love
We're gonna
Overbattle.
preface it with that, too.
Oh, no.
Cider
I don't-
gaming. I love Overbattle. Please
They about
stick
to lose they about to lose your copy of Overbattle in the post.
Okay,
What
so
you,
Jackie didn't
you about
like
to drag
Dig.
this poor game. What are you got to say about this poor game?
Okay, so if I'm going by whether or not I liked it, it's a 2. If I'm going by, like, will people in general like it? Like, if, where would I think it would fit for people who like this type of game? Because, as I said, I am not the intended audience for this game. Overbattle is the one that I'm intended for.
Yeah, so what you're saying is there are too few rules for this game for you.
It doesn't hurt my brain. I hate it.
No.
No, no, but so yes, if it was just like an in general, like how does it rate against other base your luck games? Yeah, that'd be a 7 for me as well. If it's whether or not I like it, like as a person, then that's a 2 because I don't like luck-based games, and I know one of their goals with this game was something that helps you kind of forget about everything that's going on around you, something to kind of escape reality for a little bit is what they said. But to be honest, like if I'm going to try to escape reality, I would like to do that for more than 5 to 10 minutes.
Fair enough.
I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, so that's my comments on that, and I'm so sorry, and I still love you, Scyther Games. Please don't take away my copy of Overbattle.
They're gonna lose it in the post.
Allie, you got a quick preview of Dig.
Yup.
What are your thoughts on it? You don't have to rate it if you don't want to,
sick.
but you know,
Your
what are
thoughts.
your impressions?
I would probably honestly like this game because I like small games. It's something my boyfriend and I could play with little need for room. Also, it seems like you need enough room to put the piles together, but you can put them together
Just
close
about
enough.
any table.
Right.
There's 2 options for how to set up the piles. You can do 11 piles of 4, or you can do 4 piles of 11.
That's nice.
It's 4 and 3 and 4.
Oh.
What?
Okay, well, you can do like a bunch of piles, or you can do like 4 piles.
She was
Okay.
off on the math.
Okay.
Math
I
is
was
hard.
confused for a second. I do like the accessibility of how big these numbers are. I also feel like these would be really good for kids.
Yeah.
The math is like ultra simple.
Mhm.
I don't know if this is a game I would consider to be like a quick pretty game though.
You say quick pretty game?
Party game. Sorry.
Party game.
Quick party game.
Okay, I was like, the art's not like sophisticated, but come
You're like,
on.
God, dude, judge her like that.
Yeah.
It says for it's for 12 and over, but honestly, I think you could play this with 8-year-olds.
I was to say if your kid, no, and some kids even younger, if your kid, knows math and can understand, grasp the rules, there's no small parts. Just make sure that they don't like mess up the cards or eat the cards or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
kids are wild. I feel like I would probably like this game. I probably have to play it a couple times, but I can't imagine it It would make me salty. If I pulled all those bombs, I would be so angry and I would stop playing. Because that's not fair. I can't be the only one who loses that hard. That's unacceptable.
Well, you wouldn't be because I lost the
That's
hardest.
fair. But like in the same game.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if I'm going down, you're coming with me.
I'd be interested to try it as a 4-player game, like with another deck. That would be interesting. And add some different dynamics to it because, then you're working with 16 bombs instead of the 8. And so that was the other fun thing too. In one of the games, we were like, "Oh, we've pulled 7 bombs. That means there's only 1 left." And I pulled one. I was like, "All right, cool, that's it." And then we pulled another one.
And you said,
because I miscounted what had been discarded already.
That would be me.
Right, and I was like, "No," because I'm just like, "Yep, I'm drawing all these cards now. I'm gonna win." No, it was horrid.
Why did I do
It was
this?
horrid. So yeah, that was a pretty salt-inducing moment. But overall, saltiness scale 1 to 10, I give it a 10 because it's a luck-based game. Now, again, I also gave it a 7 for just what it is, So it's a pretty good game, but it does induce the salt.
I'd have to agree with that 10 on the salt because, yeah, it's a luck-based game. I mean, I kind of equate this to zombie dice. Like, zombie dice is one, you roll the dice, and if you end up with, like, 3 gunshots or something, then you're automatically out, and you lose all your points or any points that you've done to the point. Yeah, and you keep putting out the good dice, and so, like, you increase your chances of getting the bad dice. And this is kind of what that feels like to me, and so that is also a salt-inducing game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was like, unfortunately, with this style of game, it's just something you can't really get around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we all know Alyssa's just a salty sailor.
I'd be Angie.
Yeah.
Big Angie.
She big Angie.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
if you like salt-inducing games,
if that's your style.
yeah, if you like to yell at your friends,
Well, I'm sure if you like games like that, you don't yell at people when you get the salt conditions.
that's true.
This
That's
game
true.
But if you need to de-ice your driveway, this is the game to do it with.
Just don't play it for money, because this would be.
Yeah, that would be a tough one to play for money, but I'm sure someone will figure it out.
I can't. I can't see it. I just put money down on a round. I don't see.
A dig
Right.
drinking game would be amazing.
Oh no!
Oh,
Every
no,
time
we
there's a
would-
bomb.
Oh no!
Well, if we're doing sips, I think we can handle that.
Right.
But
That's
if
That's
we're
not how
doing
drinking games work.
if we're doing shots, then we have some issues.
We gotta put some house rule the limitations on that. So
Yeah.
nobody's go to the hospital.
Well, there's only 8 bombs, so
Drink responsibly,
Yeah,
everybody.
drink
Yes.
responsibly,
Don't hurt
friends.
or anyone else.
Any final thoughts on Dig, the exciting, fast, and fun card discovery game?
Over battles better. Make more games like that. Please slide their gaming. Thank you. Bye.
I'm telling.
Probably saw it.
Yeah,
Sorry. I
solid game. Would play again.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to try it. It looks like a game I would like.
Yeah, I'm
That
happy
makes
to
me
have
easy.
it.
Cool.
Good in between.
Well, that does it for the games we're covering today. Any final thoughts or topics before we sign off for the evening?
So let me tell you about the D&D.
Let me tell you about the
The
Okay, that's an
D&D.
inside joke.
No, but
Nobody gets that.
I know, but still, it's like, what else you want to talk about? And it's like, oh, let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm currently playing this character.
All
that
right,
is
so
right.
join us next time on the next episode of Meeple Skills. As always, you can follow us on the social medias at Meeple Skills Pod on Twitter, our now defunct Instagram. Since somebody decided to change it back to their personal profile. It was
Find
this
out
one.
what we're doing on Lucky Heffling
Yeah.
on Instagram.
And Meeple Skills on Facebook, no space.
Yep.
It still
Or
cracks me up.
capitals. It won't let me change it. Like,
That's
I'm not
funny.
an idiot. It just won't let me change it.
You can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/nerdmeat with an underscore at the end. That's important to note. Twitter at nerdmeat, Instagram at nerdmeat, Snapchat nerdmeat, Facebook nerdmeat gaming, etc. I'm all over. I'm a social media enthusiast.
Mm-hmm. You really are.
Jackie, where can people find you on the internet?
Honestly, I just run the Meeple Skills stuff, and you can try following Lucky Halfling on Instagram. That is, used to be the Meeple Skills Instagram. Now it's my Instagram because I took it back over.
If you were following the Meeple Skills Instagram, you're already following her.
You are,
Yup.
so you're already there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats.
I stole all those viewers.
Yeah. Allie, where can people find you on the internet?
Mostly Instagram, Minty Fresh Gaming. I am on Twitter. It's gaming. I think gaming_Minty or gaming_Minty Fresh.
I think it's gaming_Minty.
I think it is because somebody has Minty Gaming. It's fine.
Ooh, we're gonna track him down.
I was pretty salty.
What's
Also BattleNet.
Oh yeah, we need more carry you in dungeons.
Yeah, I'm doing better, but it's been a bit, and that's what I get for playing DPS for a long time and then trying to switch to healing.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you though.
Yeah, we're out here. It's Minty Fresh on BattleNet.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to get that tag, by the way, either. With nothing extra,
Minty
just
Fresh.
Yeah, I got lucky, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
Did see somebody who played the same class as me today with almost the exact same username as me, and it freaked me out, man. And they stopped next to me, and I was like, "Huh."
Is that Spider-Man meme?
Yeah, I was like, "You." We were both in shadow form too, so I was like, "Ha!"
Ah.
Get away from me.
I love it. Well, thank you all for joining us for this stream of Meeple Skills. Look out for more videos on the YouTube as well as the audio version of this podcast coming soon, TM.
Yep, don't forget to like and subscribe, no matter whether you're watching on here, the Twitch, or on the YouTubes.
All right, I'm going to scurry over to the computer and stop the stream.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Scurry, scurry, scurry.